An honest mistake cost 21-year-old Samantha Josephson her life in the most brutal and horrific way imaginable. Note that some art used are AI generated to avoid copyright infringement. Although this murder occurred 5 years ago, it still haunts me because of my genuine fear of using Uber. I cannot begin to imagine the pain her family are still experiencing to this day. Friends, let's start the story of beautiful Samantha Josephson. A night out with friends and an Uber drive home turned into the most brutal murder on a university student, Samantha Lee Josephson, aged 21. Samantha was born in Princeton, New Jersey. She was raised in Robbinsville, New Jersey, where she attended the University of South Carolina and majored in political science. She was a senior in college and planned to graduate in 2019, attending Drexel University Law School. She received a full scholarship to Drexel University and a partial scholarship to Rutgers. The night before her death, Samantha and her friends spent the night in the Five Points neighborhood of downtown Columbia, South Carolina. In the early hours of March 29, 2019, she decided to leave the Bird Dog bar and ordered an Uber to take her home. She walked out of the bar and waited at the corner of the street for her Uber. Little did she know that a killer was scanning the neighborhood looking for his next victim. As she stood on the corner, she noticed a car pulling up and she proceeded to walk towards it, but the car wasn't there for her. The driver had come to pick up someone else, so Samantha walked back to the street corner and waited. Caught on surveillance camera at 2:09 a.m., a black Chevrolet Impala pulled up at the curb next to her, and Samantha is seen kissing her boyfriend goodbye, then walking to the back passenger door of the vehicle. She opened the door and climbed into the back seat. In the meantime, Samantha's real Uber arrived to collect her. The driver searched for her, waited a while, and, noticing she wasn't there, he canceled the trip and left. Her boyfriend was following her on an app to make sure she arrived home safely, but instead he saw the Chevrolet driving in the opposite direction. He didn't think much of it, wondering if maybe she was going to visit a friend. Some time had passed, so he WhatsApped her to see if she was home but got no response. Although the message was delivered, she never read it. Calls he made to her also went unanswered. Her boyfriend and roommates became concerned when they hadn't heard from her, and the next day they reported her missing. Police immediately checked surveillance footage, searching for the black Chevrolet Impala. They didn't wait long when the car was seen driving in the Five Points area where Samantha was kidnapped. The driver was pulled over, and when he got out of his car, he made a run for it. He was caught and arrested around 3:30 a.m. March 30th. He was identified as Nathaniel Rowland. The car was searched and they found a container of liquid bleach, window cleaner, and sterile wipes inside the car. There were also huge amounts of blood on the passenger seat and the inside of the trunk. Child locks were found activated, which would have prevented Samantha from escaping. A child-proof lock can only be opened from the outside of the car. Police then searched Rowland's girlfriend's house and her garbage out back. Inside the garbage, they found a two-bladed knife covered in blood, a sock with blood, as well as a bandana with bloodstains, all belonging to Rowland, and some cleaning supplies. Samantha's DNA was found under Rowland's fingernails while they were collecting evidence, and while they were searching for fingerprints, they also found a barefoot impression on the back window of the Chevy. These were sent for analysis, and was conclusively found that the footprint was that of Samantha. She must have desperately been kicking the window to try and escape, thereby leaving a foot impression. More of Samantha's prints were found on multiple items owned by Rowland. He was charged with kidnapping, possession of a deadly weapon, and murder. Authorities say Rowland locked Josephson inside the vehicle by activating the child lock so she couldn't escape. He then pulled a double-edged knife and stabbed Samantha approximately 120 times. By the marks on her hands and her shattered nails, Samantha tried to defend herself using her hands and arm. Rowland proceeded to punch her, and one of his punches went completely through her right arm. He stabbed Samantha in the head with so much force that the knife passed through her right hand. It went through her skull and into her brain, severing the carotid artery, one of the two main arteries that carry blood to her head. She had so many wounds, and many of them, particularly the wounds to her neck and right shoulder, were close together. This could be because of his rapid and continuous stabbing. On top of all the other injuries caused by the stabbing, she also suffered a torn hyoid bone. The hyoid bone is in your neck, just below the lower jaw above the thyroid cartilage. All in all, stab wounds were found on her face, neck, shoulders, torso, back, lungs, legs, and feet. The exact amount of stab wounds could not be determined as there were too many to count, but an autopsy report performed by a pathologist estimated stab wounds of approximately 120. The autopsy report also revealed that she bled profusely and died within 10 to 20 minutes. The average female body should contain about 4.5 liters of blood. The autopsy report revealed that she had only 20 milliliters of blood left in her body after the attack. It is believed that Rowland dragged Samantha's body to a New Zion field in Clarendon County, where it would later be found. According to police, Rowland recently lived in the area where her body was found. 14 hours later, some turkey hunters found Samantha's body in a field in the town of New Zion, South Carolina, which is 105 kilometers from Columbia. Her body was discovered by turkey hunters in a field in the town of New Zion in Clarendon County, 14 hours after her abduction. Rowland was arrested and charged with kidnapping and murdering Samantha Josephson. Apparently in October 2018, Rowland had kidnapped another woman in Columbia while she was at a traffic light, physically assaulted her, and forced her to drive to an ATM where they robbed her. She was then forced to drive home, and there her house was ransacked and she robbed again. He then tried to sell the stolen items, including a PlayStation 4, to a pawn shop. While in prison awaiting his trial, Rowland applied for bail. This was denied on the 9th of June 2020. On the 20th of July 2021, Rowland's trial began. 31 witnesses, including the turkey hunters who found her body, were called to testify. A cell phone shop owner testified that Rowland unsuccessfully tried to sell Samantha's cell phone. He wasn't happy with the price offered, took the cell phone and put it back in his car, where it was later discovered by police. Rowland's defense team did not call any witnesses, and Rowland himself did not testify. A guilty verdict was passed on July 27, 2021, after just over an hour of deliberation. Shortly after Rowland was found guilty, State District Judge Clifton Newman sentenced him to life in prison, saying, "Anyone who has asked me for leniency, it is not part of my DNA." He described Rowland as merciless, and saying the case was the most brutal and severe murder he had ever seen in court. After their daughter's death, Samantha's parents established a What's My Name Foundation. The foundation educates people about carpooling safety and also supports charities and college scholarships. Her parents worked with legislators to advocate for policies that improve the safety of rideshare passengers. Several laws were passed after Samantha's death. On the 5th of June 2019, the Samantha L. Josephson Ride-Sharing Safety Act was signed into law in South Carolina. Samantha's killing prompted North Carolina lawmakers to propose a passenger protection law. The law requires rideshare drivers to display printed license plates on the front of their vehicles and display illuminated signs on their vehicles starting July 1, 2020. Many other safety measurements were put into effect, making it safe for both drivers and passengers alike. Samantha Josephson is buried at the Perrineville Jewish Cemetery in Perrineville, New Jersey. Thank you, my friends. It's good to see you again. Please help this channel reach 1,000 subscribers. I appreciate each one of you. Look after you.